Welcome back. We're going to be taking a look at one that is a little bit more difficult. Don't be too afraid if you can't follow it all the way through. You might need to watch this one a couple of times. So I'll try to go slow and I'll try and show all the extra little steps that might be necessary for this. Okay, because we've only just started with the rules of taking the derivative, we don't have that many rules yet. So we're going to do this in a way that might be a little bit, like I said, difficult to follow. But we'll get through it. We'll just see what we can do. This is one of the harder ones. Okay, let me first just manipulate this a little bit so that we can wrap our brains around what's happening. Okay, it's going to be 5 times x times, I'm breaking out one of the x's so I can show you what I'm going to be doing, and then x to the power of 2/3. Now, if we didn't have this fun little 2/3 here and we just had an x, you would see that it'd be real easy to just do that, and you'd have a 2 there. But we're not quite that lucky today. We're going to have to play around with it a little bit, but we're still going to be using the rules of exponents and how we handle the things when they're raised to a power. All right, I need to get rid of that. We just don't want it there. And if I can change one of these into some combination that includes x to the 2/3, then we'll be able to divide it out and clean this up so that we can then easily take the derivative. All right. What we can do is first, let me show you a little bit of math A, and you're probably going to wonder, well, why is he doing this? Well, we're going to need to remember that when you have a whole number and are adding it to a fraction, that you need to get the same base. So in this case, the 2 would turn into 6 divided by 3, and then you can add them up. So we would end up with 7 divided by 3. Now you're probably wondering, well, why would you show me that? You're about to find out. Okay. I'm going to change this one. Now let me take a new line here. I'm changing it into this. And I'm having a hard time with my pen today. This is funny. Okay. And then here's the last part there. I didn't do anything with the x squared there. And now we'll have this. Okay. So what did I do? This and this make x. Do you remember the rules of exponents? When you have, say, I don't know, x squared times x to the 3rd, what do you do? Well, you would get all together. You could simplify it to add them together, and you'd get x to the 5. It's really no different when it is fractions. You just have to be careful to remember to not make a math A mistake. And I know you don't do fractions all that often, so just remember that you can break an x down into little components like I just did. And when we do that, then we're going to have, I'm just going to change this so it looks the same as the other so that you don't think it means something different. Sometimes I do a straight line. Oops, that's supposed to be a 2. Sometimes I do a little crooked one when I'm dividing. It's just, I don't know. All right, 2/3 there. Okay, that's x to the power of 2/3. So, all right. Now we're going to be able to divide out this term and this one. It's simply being divided by itself, and then it becomes 1. So then we can rewrite this as, we'll just clean it up. Okay, we'll have 5x to the 1/3 times x squared, and then that'll be divided by 2. Okay, now we're not done. We're just manipulating this so that we can get to something that is easy to take the derivative of. Now, this one can be cleaned up even more, because now we have 1/3 there and a 2 there. And how do you add those powers together? Well, that's why I brought up the 2 plus 1/3 earlier. We're going to just change it around. So we're going to have this, make that a little longer, and this. Because x to the power of a third times x squared is x to the power of 7/3. Now we can take the derivative of it. So let me get a new page and I'll write it up clean so I have some room. So we're going to have, oh, already starting to write wrong. Here we go. 5x to the 7/3 divided by 2. Okay, let's take the derivative of this then. So we have y prime will equal, okay, just like before, we got to look at the power there. We say, okay, that we got to put right here, and it will be multiplied by everything that came before, and then the power has to be reduced by 1. But 7/3, and then you got to take away 3/3, because that's the base that we're using. So that will leave 4/3. And it's still all divided by 2. Okay, now that can be cleaned up. And it gets cleaned up like this. We'll end up with, I'll take it all in one big step, and then I'll explain what I did if you didn't follow it. Okay, the 7 times the 5 gives the 35. The 3 can jump down here and play around with a 2 there. So we'll end up with 35x to the power of 4/3 divided by 6.